This is my 1961 Cadillac Coupe DeVille, my drag and drive project, the one that I want to go 8 seconds in the quarter mile with and then take my friends cruising across America in. And I'll tell you what, the second worst thing that could have possibly happened to this car just happened. Well, the first thing would be catching on fire. It didn't catch on fire. However, because everything went sideways, we had to do the biggest mod I've ever done to any car right here in this garage, and we pulled it off. We turned lemons into lemonade, and we're giving you what you want, an entire episode of nothing but caddy work. And a GoPro dying. So here's the deal. I bought this car a long time ago during an episode of Roadkill. It had 46,000 original miles. I found it in an airplane hangar, not a lick of rust on it. So Freiberg and I road tripped it, drove over mountains, snow chains, had the time of our lives, got the car home. Car was fun, it was a good cruiser, but it was slow, it didn't stop good, didn't turn good, did nothing good other than look gangster. So what did I do? I took it to my friends, we cut the entire mint condition floor out of it, body dropped the body over a mandrel bent chassis, and then brought it home. And over the years, we've really slowly worked on it. We mocked up a big block Chevy, a Dart Big M block, built our own twin turbo kit for Nelson Racing mirror image turbos, and then everything just kind of screeched to a halt. Nelson's almost done with the motor, so recently, Joe and I kicked it into overdrive and started working on the car again, which included scuffing and painting the entire roll cage in this car and the chassis to get it ready for us to make floors, right? That's the next big thing. The car needed floors. So we ripped out a floor that was kind of half-assed installed in there and ate up a lot of interior room. And we were moments away from starting to fabricate our own floor when unfortunately we found out that cool roll cage that was in there was completely illegal and wouldn't pass tech, and we couldn't go down a drag strip. Cue that footage.
Hey Mike, how's your Friday morning going?
So, I don't know. I'm gonna keep hope alive here that it might be going good. But here's the story. Working on a Cadillac. Joe's in the back, fitting wheel tubs, getting ready to put those back in. This is after we've pulled the body off the car, put it back on multiple times, after Joe's painted the chassis. I just welded him some new cross members. I was about to mount this awesome seat over here that Corey LaJoy and his dad Randy sent me. This is a LaJoy of Seating aluminum containment seat. It's gonna make me feel really safe in my caddy. And when we determined the position of the seat, we realized the harness bar needed to come up, which is a good thing actually, because that'll give a lot of knee room to the rear passengers, right? When that came up, I had a question about the door bar that we cut out previously back at my warehouse. So I called Mike Wells, our local NHRA safety inspector rep. And he said, you know, I was like, hey, can I put a dip in this door bar? I know it's got to land between my elbow and my shoulder, but can I put a dip in this door bar? And he's like, yeah. And I don't know how we got on the subject, but he asked me, you know, what it was going to cert to. And I said it should cert to 850. I said it was built by some dudes in NASCAR country, you know, Mooresville, North Carolina. And I said it's actually an 1.75 inch diameter cage. He's like, really? That's really weird. And I'm like, yeah, I tried to talk him out of that. I said 1 5/8 inches, you know, is kind of the standard for drag racing, but you know, they said it's a big car. They wanted to use the big tubing. I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, if it's 1 3/4 inches, it's probably mild steel. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know, yeah, you don't usually see 1 3/4 inch chrome ollie tubing. Well, if it's 1 3/4 inch mild steel, the minimum wall thickness is like 118 thousandths thick. And because the door bar was out, I went, well, let me just see. And I threw my calipers in it and went, oh God. I'm pretty sure this is 083 mild steel and that they TIG welded, which means the door bar is illegal. Okay, if it's just the door bar, not the end of the world. I can replace the door bar pretty easily. Harness bar needs to move, so if it's the harness bar, no big deal. But what about everything else? What about the entire cage? Like, is it all 083? Because if it is, it's illegal, and I have to cut every lick of tubing out of this car and start over. That is 1.75" tubing. 1.75" tubing almost always in a race car environment is mild steel. And it's usually 120 wall, 118 wall, right around there. It will be fine for an A50 cage as long as it was that thick. The problem is this tube is, yeah. In that one spot, there's probably a burr. It measured 092, which is nowhere near 120, which means anybody that sonic tests this is going to immediately find out the tubing is too thin and won't put a chassis cert sticker on this thing. So we can cut this bar out because it's in the wrong place. We can drill a hole in this and try to stick this end of the caliper in there and figure out how thick that is. But if this is not the right size, and this is the right size, and this is not the right size, none of this is the right size. And every scrap of tubing's got to get cut out of the car. Which sucks ass. This is a really good fitting cage.
It really is.
And Joe and I literally were making seat mounts, putting in wheel tubs to start building a floor in this car. I got a bad feeling we're going to be starting over on a roll cage. Happy Friday. No, I'm going to drill a hole in the main hoop.
In this one?
And go, because if that's no good, start over. Oh, hell, I can already tell by looking at it. Yeah. Like I can feel that part right there. Yeah, that's less than 100 thousandths. I think this is 085 or 095 mild steel. Lemons out of lemonade. So the main hoop is right here at the split in the door,
yeah,
which makes a lot of sense until you realize the driver's seat is way up here and that you were going to need a brace, a back brace that came way back here to get to this harness bar, and this thing is over the knees of the passengers. We can move the main hoop forward now and not have this gnarly thing, and people in the back seat, this bar will be nowhere near their knees. We could do things different. Oh my God. So we just put a headliner in this car.
Yeah.
And we took the body off the car for like the 6th time to put the headliner in the car because the body was going on permanently. Joe and I were going to mount this seat and then put floors in here. I'm going to cut the harness bar out because it has to come out anyway. It's in the wrong spot. And we'll sit it on the table and we'll measure it, and then I believe this probably is DOM. What is the spec for DOM? I don't know. We have to get a hold of Mike Wells again and find out, is there a spec for DOM? DOM is essentially, there's mild steel tubing, which has a seam in it. It's a welded tube. And that will not cert for anything past 7.5 seconds in the quarter mile. We're not trying to go that fast in this car, but it has to have a minimum wall thickness of 118 thou. This does not have that. So this is thinner. So why would you use thinner unless it was a better graded tubing like DOM or chromoly, a better graded tubing that you can run thinner. Those two types of tubing don't have a seam in it. It's not a welded tube. And so if it is chromoly or DOM, it could be thinner. We just need to verify what the hell is it. And if it is DOM, is there a spec for that? And what is it? I don't know. Is there a spec for DOM?
DOM's gotta be, DOM's 120.
There doesn't appear to be a seam in that tube.
Yeah, I don't see one.
But we'll go to the warehouse and we'll grab the door bar that didn't get painted. I think there's 2 of them there. I want to satisfy my own curiosity. Because here's the other thing, I want to be safe too.
Right.
It's a massive hunk of automobile. It's probably going to weigh 5,000 pounds when it's together. And 5,000 pounds running into a wall would suck. And if the tubing isn't up to spec, I don't want to be the loose nut behind the wheel if I wreck this thing. So it's not just about saving ourselves from starting over on the work. It's about satisfying my curiosity of whether or not this thing's going to be safe and legal. So we just confirmed that with one of the guys that worked at the shop that built this, that it's not chromoly, it is mild steel. So we got to cut the whole cage out of the car.
There's still the Thelma and Louise option.
It's not convertible. Like if it was a convertible, I'd be like, yeah, just off a cliff, dude. I'm done. We'll
Let's go.
Focus on blasting me and the 19 other hunks of crap I got at that warehouse that probably don't run anyway. Except I love this car and I want to drive this car, and this is just a setback.
You will drive it right off a cliff.
Drive this car not off a cliff this year.
All right.
This might not have a roll cage. So today, Joe and I, we're taking 37 steps backwards to move forward with the Caddy project. And that involves getting the car up in the air, measuring wherever we can to see how much room we have between the current cage and the car, and then taking the body off and cutting the whole cage out of this thing and starting over. Because she ain't legal and she's never going to be legal, and I want to be safe. You know, I'll admit, this was over a month ago. I needed some time to step away from this thing and just get it out of my system, the fact that we were gonna have to go backwards. But I'm past all of that. I'm no longer totally bummed out about it. Now I'm like, okay, let's make it better, you know? First things first, let's put the seat in it, put me back in there, and then we'll determine where this is gonna go in relation to that seat. Okay, so here's what we're working with, folks. The reason we're debating whether or not to move this bar is right now it's in the divide of the two windows, the front window and the back window. It looks great. The problem was originally the harness bar went straight across your knees. See Joe's knees? That's where the harness bar was. Another harness bar got bent that shoved it forward. But even then, if you look where that harness bar is coming, it's still right by your knees. It's not ideal. Now the seat, if you look at how much room is in the cab of this thing, that driver's seat, that is all the way back for me with my 6-foot-long frame and legs going straight to the pedals there. That seat can actually go further forward, which means the harness bar can go further forward, but at some point, a harness bar with a bend that takes it 6 inches forward looks pretty goofy. So the debate right now is whether to move the main hoop forward and then put a straight harness bar in and get that harness bar completely away from passenger legs. The pros and cons of that are what we're looking at right now. And although it might not look as cool, I think for rear passengers, it's probably going to be safer.
Well, it's going to be up here. The new harness bar will be this tall, right?
It has to go between my shoulder and my elbow, so it won't be that high.
Okay, so more like here?
Depending on what angle you mount that seat at. My shoulders are, see the top of the seat?
Your shoulders are like
right
literally
there.
like right about here.
Right, so that's the highest that harness bar would ever be. It needs to be below that.
Okay.
But the harnesses also need to go straight or just a little bit of a downward angle. You don't want them uphill because then they don't work.
Okay.
You don't want them at an extreme down angle because then they're pulling down on your shoulders. Ideally, they're flat. So the harness bar needs to go wherever that top tube of that seat is right there. That's where that harness bar needs to go. So before the harness bar goes in, the seat has to get mounted.
Yes.
And before the main hoop goes in, we need to decide where the seat's going to go and where we want the main hoop. Does it stay here or does it go forward? I think it should go forward.
Well, either way, getting back here is gonna suck.
Oh, it's going to suck for sure.
I mean, we'll have to do that seat like we did in Blasphemy where it tilts forward. It's not going to tilt like this one does, or like Blasphemies do, because they're low back seats, you know?
Yeah, we'll have to make it like quick release or tilt forward, and then people will crawl under the harness bar.
Yeah.
So I guess my question now is would you rather see the main hoop go forward and a straight harness bar, or would you rather keep the main hoop there because that's where the door opening is and do a curved harness bar?
So I think aesthetically this looks way better. I think for access back here, with the harness bar being up a little bit more, this is better, because if we move this forward, that puts that bar right here.
In and out would suck.
Yeah.
I don't know that you'd ever get in and out between that seat and there.
Well, not here, but even on that side. Even if you move it forward.
Yeah, and then you tilt the seat.
Yeah. They're still tight.
All right, so we'll leave this where it is. We'll bring the harness bar probably up even with the door frame right there, and we'll put a little more curve in it, bring it a little more forward, and then make an adjustable brace that comes off of it for the back of the seat. I like that.
Okay.
All right, so then all we got to do is measure everything in the car and go, all right, where's everything going to end up at? Because like right now, the headliner's sitting on the main hoop, so I want to drop the main hoop just a little bit, like half an inch. These I'd rather see welded up closer to the top of the main hoop. This I'd rather see straight and welded up to closer to the top of the main hoop.
Yeah.
We'll make some changes.
Okay. I like the fitment up front. I see why the whoop-de-whoop's in there because of the steering column.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's an issue.
You don't want to sawzall through weld, so most of the weld I got rid of with the death wheel, but there's areas I couldn't get into, so this blade's going to get destroyed. There's a lot of tension. Shot. These are the tools we use to do this job. Some of them are cheap, some of them are expensive, some of them you do need, a lot of them you don't need. For example, this Ameribrade abrasive tubing notcher makes quick work of roughing in the end of tubes when they have to meet other round tubes. You don't have to have this. Great if you do, very useful. But in lieu of that, I notch tubes all the time with nothing more than a flap disc on a 4-inch cordless grinder like this Milwaukee. A lot cheaper, works just as well. But this, if you can afford it and if you have it, amazing tool. Electric over hydraulic tubing bender. You have to have a tubing bender to do this job, but it doesn't have to be this one. You can do a manual one, works just as well. Chop saw. This is not an abrasive one. This one has teeth, which means it's quieter, doesn't leave as much slag, virtually no slag. The cuts are much cleaner, the cuts are much straighter because the blade doesn't deflect. $500 versus, you can get an abrasive one for $150, $200. I prefer this. It is more expensive though. We need a drill because every one of these tubes that runs into another one, when you weld it, if you don't put a vent hole in it while you're welding it, it'll blow out your weld. Protractor for figuring out the angles of the things as we're mocking things up. Digital angle finder, same deal. Dial calipers. This is the very first thing you need. So when you buy your tubing, you can measure the OD and the ID and make sure it's legal. It's kind of important. Ruler, obvious. Tape measure, also obvious. Not so obvious is prepping the end of the tube or the middle of other tubes where they intersect and removing the pickling off of them so that it's easier to weld. This is a tube sander. It's made by 525 Industries. I think they're out of Jersey. I've talked about this thing before. Not cheap, but man, does it make quick work of taking the pickling off round tubing. You guys recognize these, right? Great for clamping onto one tube and then sitting another one on top of it to hold it in place. Rubber mat. You can get this at Tractor Supply, right? It's fantastic. You tape it to tubes, and now you've got spacers. When you've got to go past something like a dash and you don't want it to touch, or you want to maintain space while you're welding or fitting things. Flashlight for seeing up into corners, so you can make sure that when you're coping tubes and putting them together, everything fits tight. These are the tools we will use to build our own roll cage in the Cadillac. Look at that, everybody. Blank canvas. We have ripped the Band-Aid off, the entire cage cut out of the car. And now I have 60 feet of 1 5/8 chrome moly tubing ready to be cut, bent, and welded back in place. Starting with our main hoop right there. Now our main hoop is already roughed in. My buddy Ryan bent this for us. We took the caddy over to his shop, showed him the old cage, showed him what was about to go down and that we had to cut it out and we needed a new one. And Ryan knows me. He knows that chrome moly is expensive, and I'd probably end up making 2 of these, maybe even 3 before I got it right. So Ryan and Gary whipped that up real quick, and I bet it's gonna lay right on the frame rails and be real close to the headliner and fit the car perfectly. Probably just need to trim the bottom of it. Let's find out right now. All right, I'm probably an 1/8 inch off the inside edge of the frame rail. Wow, they nailed it. Let's go forward and get it under that line of the headliner. We'll start here, driver's side, front. So now we know while we're working on it. And it's wedged up in there, so we need to take probably 1/2 inch out of this thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we pushed the headliner up. Okay. Let's put a level on it and make sure it's level, and if it's level, we'll cut it evenly. If it's not level, then we don't cut it evenly. So I zeroed it to the cross member, which hopefully is correct. And, oh, dude.
0.1.
I'll take it. All right, so we can cut it evenly. So we'll pull this out, cut a 1/2 inch off of it, put it back in.
Is moly lighter than mild steel? Because this sure feels a lot lighter. I know it's smaller tubing.
It's an alloy that is stronger, so you can use a thinner wall than you would in mild steel. It's like using titanium. Titanium is stronger than steel, so you can use less of it to achieve the same strength. Because our blade is junk, it did leave a burr. Normally it wouldn't leave a burr, but it did. So we need to deburr that, and then we need to get the pickling off the end of the tubing to make it easier to weld. And to do that, we're going to use this deburring tool from DX Engineering. This will do the inside of it right in here. So see, not bleeding. This will do the outside of it. These are pretty cool. Look at that, done. Fixed. Look at that. Is it just that easy? Yes, it is just that easy. Now I'm going to use another tool to get rid of the pickling off there. This is a tube sander. See that? That just removes the pickling, which is there to keep the tube from corroding when it sits in storage. Done. So as we shorten it, it's going to move closer to the edge because it's on an angle. So we don't want to shorten it too much, but we do want it off the headliner.
I think you're pretty good right there.
The only way to know is to close the door.
This is true.
All right, I'm flush with the inside edge. Can you come my way? Yeah, you got a step.
Almost
so
flush too.
come my way because you got a little step. I think that's it. I think we can put a level on it here so we make sure it's not leaning backwards or forwards, and we can tack it in place.
Okay.
But before we do that, we'll take it out one more time and we'll tube sand both sides of this corner because we know we're going to have A-pillar bar going that way and back brace is going that way. And then our harness bar is going to end up right about here. So we'll sand this. Our door bar is going to end about here. So we'll tube sand this, get it ready to go, and then we'll tack it in. Sweet. This already fits better, so it's closer to the edge now.
Yeah, it's so much
Before
better.
it rolled in way over here, and it was not level. Now we're level, and we fit better.
Yeah, that's a lot tighter fit. It seems like it is forward a little more, because I feel like it went over the light before, didn't it?
It was laying back before.
Oh, that's
it
right.
landed in about the same spot, but the tube was laying back, so yeah, it did. We're still going to have to make a harness bar that goes forward because our seat is here.
Yeah.
And so the harness bar will come forward like this, then we'll have a back brace that comes off the seat right here that'll be adjustable, probably have like 3 holes in it. But having the harness bar come forward like this gives the back seat passengers knee room when they're sitting there. And gives them something to hold on to. It's like a carnival ride, you know, or Disneyland. Just grab onto that thing. Cool.
Remember the days when you had to have like a certain ticket to ride rides at Disneyland? You had to have an E-ticket, a D-ticket. You never had those?
Not that old, bro. Sorry.
Oh, stop. You're only a couple years younger than me, buddy.
There were no tickets for me. You just paid to get in. What was it like, Joe, when the rides weren't electrical? You know, when they, you know, you just pushed them.
You had to
What was that like?
You had to pedal the ride yourself? Okay. Okay.
From there to there is 1/2 inch. And from here to here is 3/8 of an inch. It's 90 degrees though, right?
Sitting perfectly at 90 degrees right now.
So it's closer here than it is here. So this needs to come backwards then. An
Eighth of an inch.
It's about 3/8 of an inch. I'll land this one about 3/8 of an inch. Well, left to right, it's all wrong. It's shifted.
Left to right is?
Yeah, it's all shifted towards you. Okay, everybody, this is the old A-pillar bar, and we just wanted to throw it up in here just to see how it fit. And there are a couple things about it that now that we're going to be rebuilding this deal that we're going to change. First off, the proximity to the vent. It was essentially touching it. And then it doesn't really follow the angle of the A-pillar. This side of it did. They put it in a roller and they bent this, and so this followed the frame of the window. We don't have a roller, we're not gonna be doing that, but our goal is gonna be to straighten this bar out so that we're gonna move it back a little bit, have it come straight up away from the vent, and then bring our bend closer to the A-pillar and try to follow the A-pillar. This A-pillar is bent, so we're not gonna match the angle, but we're gonna get on the same plane as it. And then come up a little higher than it was before and just shoot the bar straight back. And we no longer have a template, so now that we know we're not using this, we'll just throw it away or save it for something else. Get out ye old tape measure and get to bending and cutting. In an attempt to try to waste as little tube as possible, because we're not experts, Protractor. I'm going to use the Protractor to try to figure out what angle I need to make my first bend. And so this is approximately where the A-pillar bar is going to land on the outrigger. And then I just got to move this to get this at the approximate angle. It looks like it's somewhere around 40 degrees. Does that look parallel to this in general? What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, it's pretty close. I think it's better than the other one was.
Use the old tape measure to figure out when we want that angle to happen at. And I need to see what radius my die is, but we want it to, there's the center of our bend is probably right there. All right, time to start building a new roll cage. First things first, since we already had a problem with our tubing not being correct, let's just verify that the tubing we have now is correct. First thing we're going to look for is an outside diameter of about 1 5/8 of an inch, which would be 1 inch 625 thousandths. That'll be on the low side. We have 1 inch 635 thousandths where I measured it. So that's good news. The other thing is the wall thickness matters. And so we've already had an issue, which was our main issue of our wall thickness being too thin for the material we were using. Now this tubing is an alloy called chromoly, and because it's inherently stronger than mild steel, the tubing could be thinner. It doesn't have to be 118 thousandths of an inch thick. And I believe the spec is 083, the minimum spec. Our tubing, even after I deburred the inside and the outside edges, measured 092. So we know the tubing is plenty thick for what we're doing. Unless you have the ability to do some destructive testing, you have to have trust in who you got the tubing from, that it is what they say it is. And so how do I know it's chromoly? Well, I bought it from a race shop and all they do is TIG weld roll cages together, so I figure it is. We know it's the right diameter, we know it's the right wall thickness, we'll go with it, you know? Reasonably confident in where I got it from. So the next thing we're gonna do before we start bending anything is we're gonna mark the tube. We're gonna give ourselves basically an orientation so that no matter how many times I bend it, when I put it back in the bender, if I put my center line up, I know the bends will be on the same plane. If you don't put a center line on this and you make one bend that goes like this, take it out, test fit it, and then you go put it back in and maybe the tube is just twisted a little bit. When you make the next bend, they won't be on the same plane. They'll be like this. You'll have a bend going uphill or downhill in relation to your first bend. You don't want that. Maybe you do, I don't know. Maybe you like pretzel cages, but I don't want that. And again, as always, not a professional. Don't do this every day. I have cheater tools to help me. So for instance, I want to draw a center line on this tube. There's a great old school trick. You can take the tube and just slide it on the floor, and the bottom of the floor is the low point of the tube, and it'll give you a line. Or here's a 3D printed Sharpie holder that's adjustable, and you can adjust it, and all you do is set it up at half the diameter of the tube, which is what I've done here. My Sharpie's in there. It's at half the diameter of the tube. If I were to slide this down the tube, and if I keep the tube from rolling, this will be a straight line down this tube. So that's what we're gonna do is we're gonna clamp the tube to the table right here, run a silver Sharpie down it. Of course, I can only go so far because we're at a table. But I don't wanna do it on the floor because I know my floor is kind of level, but it ain't perfect. So rather than put the tube on the floor and slide the Sharpie down the tube, we'll just do it here, then we'll slide it back, line the Sharpie up with the existing line, and then keep going, and we should be pretty close. Okay, again. All right.
A little better.
Sharpie kind of sucked. Let me get a paper towel and wipe the end of this. Wow. So before we put this in the tube bender, you just want to make sure both ends are deburred, because if it slides through your die, it's going to ruin it. We don't want that. And this, you know, the very end shouldn't be sliding through the die while it's being bent, but when you shove it in the die, it could scratch it. I like my dies. Cool if they like pre-labeled the tubing.
Oh yeah, but then we would wipe it with acetone and it'd all be gone.
They could laser etch it and then charge us
there you go.
twice as much. For guys like me, this is helpful. Because if by some miracle I nail this the first try, then we have a template with numbers on it that we can copy for the other side. If I don't nail it, then I have a template with, you know, what doesn't work and numbers to go along with it. There's all kinds of software out there you can use, all kinds of manuals on how to do this. I own the software, don't know how to use it.
For pipe bending stuff?
There's software called BendTech that supposedly it's like really accurate. It's in the bathroom up on the wall there, the CD-ROM. I don't have a CD-ROM player. I can't even use it if I wanted to.
Who has a CD player anymore?
Not me. Okay. So there's 40 degrees. It's gonna spring back when I let off, so I'm gonna go to like 42. All right, I don't know that I can even get in here with this to figure it out, but we'll see. It looks like if I swing it up, that's in the ballpark of where I want it to be.
It does.
So, that's good news. You know. It's hard to tell without it being in there. It's close. Version 1, version 2, version 3. Bent one as a test piece and screwed it up, but at least gave us an idea where we wanted to go. Bent a second one, got it really close and went, that's not what we want. This is the second iteration of our final piece. And I think with this 45-degree bend, we can mock it up in the car and go, yes. All right, we're gonna go full pull, 45 degrees, boom. And we'll back up off this piece.
Dude, it's almost there. I think we might need a little bit more, or we trim it.
So it clears the register. How does it look in terms of the pillar? Like, does it need to go forward?
Probably go forward a ton.
I could probably go forward?
Yeah.
Then that means
We cut it.
needs some more bend because we're up against the register now.
Yeah. Here, you want me to hold it and you can look at it?
Okay. This is coming out good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost think we shorten the front real quick, and if we need to add a little more bend to it, we do it. And then once the front half is good, then we cope the back.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. We landed it right on the mount. And I don't see the tube from out here. That's good. We got clearance to the register?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, this looks good. I think we did it, Joe.
I like it.
Like,
Okay,
you
before we
could...
get too crazy, let's see how it fits on that side real quick. And then we don't do anything else with this, but we copy it.
If this fits, this is pretty much just showing off. Like,
Dude. It's close. Well, there's...
you got an inch to the register.
Yeah, I'm
dude.
right at the front.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Once you cope it, you could probably get it there. Wow.
This fits better than that other bar did, because that other bar completely blocked this and it was hitting the dash, remember?
Yeah, this is awesome. All right, so this is rubber mat from like the floor of a gym, exercise stuff. And it's really thick. This is like almost half an inch thick. I'm gonna use it as a spacer between some of the interior parts of the car and our A-pillar bar. And I'm not gonna put it on the bar because then when we go take the bar out and lay it on things and cut it, it's in the way, so I'll tape it to the car. I'll put this one right here. Okay, so that gives us our barrier this way, and then I'm gonna put a piece across the AC vent so we don't go any closer to that. There we go, everybody. Driver's side A-pillar bar roughed in. Angle number 1 is 38 degrees. Angle number 2 is 47 degrees. All we have to do is trim and cope this side, recut the angle on that side, and this will fit money. Even better than the old one. But before we do that, before we modify this to fit, we're going to use it as a template for this. So same deal, marked the center line of our tube, marked it every inch, marked our start of bends, and we have notes on what the angles should be, so we'll copy them using the tube bender, lay that one on top of that one. Once they're the same, we'll install them. Okay, did we make it match? It is damn close. Our new bar might have just a little less angle all the way out here, but the rest of it looks identical. So you could maybe stick this back in and bump it just a little more, like another 1/2 degree.
Okay.
And we're there. Or we just try it and see how it goes. Because, I mean, the odds of the car being perfectly square, left to right, are pretty slim. And we still have to finish both ends of the tube by cutting and fish mouthing this side and cutting that side. So I say leave it. And what we'll do is just fit it to the car. If it needs more angle on it, we'll figure that out when we install it. So let's stick, we'll tape some rubber to the driver's side tube for spacers, and then we'll start fitting the driver's side tube.
Okay.
Boy, you know what I don't see over here? The A-pillar bar. Do you know what's in there? The A-pillar bar. Check this out. Oh, yeah.
Dude, it fits perfect.
It fits so good. Let me zoom in. Let's see how the fit is down there. Money. How's the fit up here? Money. We can burn this in. Just gotta clean the ends of the tubes up and we can tack this in place. 3 bends, one of them on a completely different plane than the first 2. And we made it happen. And that end goes there, and this end, boom, right there. All right, now before we weld, there's one last thing we gotta do, and that is drill a vent hole in this tube, because this is what's called a dead tube. It's gonna run into another one there and stop, and then it's gonna run into our chassis down there and stop. And if we don't put a small vent hole in it, as we weld it up, we'll get one side completely done. When we get down here and we're almost all the way around, the heat will build up the pressure in the tube and blow the wall out before I can finish the weld. That
sounds fun.
Yeah, it's happened to me before.
Then we can start all over again.
The main hoop will also need a vent tube. We haven't finished welding it. We stopped there because we got to pull the body off to get to the backside. But at some point before we're done, right about here, we'll just put a little 1/8 inch hole there. Same with that one. We'll do it down towards the bottom, just a little 1/8 inch hole. I'm no longer upset we cut the old roll cage out, because the new cage fits so much better. And with the smaller tubing diameter, we have more room than we ever had before. So, yeah. Lemons in the lemonade. Next up is this bar here. This will go and bridge the gap between here and here. It'll have a little bend in it up top. And basically, this intersection point is very important, because if the car rolls over and it lands on the roof, this is what's saving you. And this is what's saving you. So you have to do a good job here. The specs say same diameter tube, same thickness. As long as it's welded 360 degrees all the way around, it doesn't need any additional gussets. I might put them in there anyway. And welding all the way around is not going to be a big deal, because we're going to pull the body off the car one more time. And when we do that, we'll finish the welds down here that we can't reach on the backside there. So we'll do this bar, probably do the dash bar. The dash bar is optional if you haven't modified your firewall more than an area about that big, 12 square inches. But obviously our firewall is, yeah, it's been cut up pretty far. So we're gonna put a dash bar in. And then the last bars we'll need to do are the ones that go from the main hoop and tie backwards and triangulate to the rear part of the frame. Those bars are interesting. There's really not a spec for the angle or where they need to go, other than they have to be up here, either on The vertical part of it within, I think, 6 inches of where the top is, or pretty much anywhere on the horizontal part. Between here and there, you can do anything you want. I mean, they can look like a pretzel. They won't work, but they can look like a pretzel, I suppose, because the specs don't say they can't. But what we're going to do is follow the roof line and the B-pillar as best we can before diving that way and down. We probably won't do our door bars until we get our seat mounted, because these need to land within 6 inches of here, from here up. But more importantly, this bar needs to come up and meet here between your shoulder and your elbow. So, you know, your seat placement determines where it's going to land up here. I already know pretty well that it's going to end up here, which is where our harness bar is going to go. So, but today's project is get this bar in there to there. And as usual, we'll mark the tube every inch. We'll mark a center line of the tube. That's, for me, the key to doing this and burning up as little tube as possible, because again, I don't do this every day. And every time I get my bender out, I have to refamiliarize myself with how far it takes and how much tube it takes to make a 90-degree bend, you know, all that good stuff. So
It's been very helpful, though, with those markings.
yeah, I mean, especially, you know, we were able to copy this tube to that one within 1 degree of every bend, only because we marked the tube every inch, you know. And once we got this one in here, we were able to go, all right, it's too high, it needs to come down. How far does it need to come down? Well, wherever that one got cut off, that's where this one had to get cut off, and it all worked out really well. So there's obviously 100 different ways to do this. There's 100 different ways to notch these things, to bend these things, you know. There's a lot of different ways to skin this cat. This is just what works for me. You don't want to make it just straight, because if you did, it would come right across here and you'd see it while you're driving. You want to get it up as high as you can. So the bar is going to come here and dive down onto this bar. So it'll have a slight bend at each end, which just complicates it. So we know that according to the tape measure, the shortest this tube would ever be if it was straight is probably about 49 inches, but we need to allow for the bend to go up. We can use this to ballpark it because we know what these angles are. This will be good because we can mark the center line of this tube and then just copy it on the other end. See, this wasn't a mistake earlier. This was just a test piece for later. Okay, so it's a 50-degree bend. There's the start of bend. So from the start, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of tube to make the bend. 26 can be the center line of this thing. And then we gotta go another 26. There's the start of the bend. So we've got one end of our windshield bar bent. We've marked the start of bend for the other end. And then we're using a digital angle finder to make sure that our tube is sitting level so that when we bend this end of it, it's on the same plane as that end. Otherwise it'll be twisted. And this bend is going to be 50 degrees, but we're going to go to 52 because the tube will spring back. Top bar is our template, bottom bar is our windshield bar. Now we just have to cut it and notch it perfectly the first time.
What do you think?
I like it.
Came out good.
Man. We have a windshield bar, A-pillar bars, main hoop. Tomorrow we'll do the dash bar. That will be interesting because it's got to go. You don't want it too low because then it's near your shins, but it's got to get across and around the column. So we'll probably bend it forward to get it away from our legs, then across, then whoop under the column, back up, then a bend. There's ignition. There's David Freiberger with hair way back in the day.
Rock on.
That's probably a disturbing keychain for him, but somebody sent it to me, and he was with me when I got this car, so he should stay with me. All right, will this one do the glove box? Not sure what that does. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. I know this opened at one point because there's a radio in here.
Oh, there is?
There's an yeah, see the wires hanging down? There's an aftermarket stereo in here. I need the lock-picking lawyer. I need that guy. I need him to teach me. Oh, it went in.
Oh,
yes. So back up in there. Ew, something ate something there. So back up behind there, hanging down, was a, I don't know if it was an EQ or what, but there was something back there.
Oh, at one point.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how low this goes. I mean, ideally, we don't want to block the AC vent if we can avoid it. Can you hand me the old bar? Yeah, so right now my legs are there. If the bar goes straight and it's that far back, the whole bar needs to come down to here, which would suck. Having a dash bar in general sucks in a car like this. And if we hadn't modified the firewall, we wouldn't need one. But because we modified the firewall, we have to have a dash bar, which means we're eating up leg room in the car. The other thing we could do is put a race column in here, which would be 1 inch in diameter, and it would eliminate all this, but then you lose this trim. Like you lose a lot of the character unless you totally rebuild everything. Right now, this thing functions, although we're not going to use the shifter. So there's that. You know, not having the shifter would be weird. Switching to a race column means we'd have to rebuild this bezel. We could wait on the dash bar and call our NHRA tech guy and see what he says. Because we are putting the firewall back together.
Yeah.
Although last time I called him, we found out we had to rebuild the whole roll cage. So maybe maybe I don't want to call him first thing in the morning. I don't know.
We got factory
There are
12-volt outlets everywhere in this car.
There are 6 ashtrays in this car, bro.
That's wild.
These two in the backside panels, 2 in the door panels. Like, it's wild. People in 61 they were on the backhoe.
They were chain smoking.
They were backhoe fiends. Okay, can you grab the door bar and we'll put the door bar up in here and just see where it lands. You could do that. Bring it up and just put a little bend right here. It's kind of close to your shins. Go down
Yeah,
again.
that's why I was like, down here it doesn't seem bad at all.
Yeah, down here, like it hides your feet, but, oops. Well, we cut, we bent, we coped, we fit our dash bar, and then decided, you know what? If we put a smaller diameter racing steering column in there, then yes, we lose the fact that it telescopes, which would kind of suck in a crash, but we gain clearance. And by removing the large diameter factory steering column, you can see where our bar is up against it. By removing that and putting to a smaller diameter one, we can raise this bar up and get it away from my feet. And yeah, we were ready to weld this thing in. We had it coped. It was all in there, fitting all good. And then essentially we were like, you know what, if we get rid of that AC vent, we get rid of this big old column, we can raise this bar up some, so.
Crusties.
Okay, now, wow, that's heavy too. About to save some weight. Now let's put our bar back up in there.
I like that better.
Yeah. That's pretty darn good. Let's do this before we get all crazy. Let's clean the ends of the tube, set up the welder, and
Okay.
we'll tack her in place, because I think we're there. Things are humming right along. Dash bar is in. Windshield bar is in. A pillars are both in. Main hoop is in. Now we move on to the rear bars that will triangulate from the hoop here up all the way down to the rear of the chassis. And they used to go right here through the package tray at the very front edge. I think we might put a hole back there and have them come through further back. I'm gonna look at that because I think that might give rear passengers more headroom, but that's a tomorrow thing. Right now we just bask in the glory of our achievement because we've wasted very little tubing so far. In fact, the two pieces you could consider screw-ups, that one and that one, can get chopped up and repurposed for other parts of this car. So not really a waste at all. And everything is getting lighter because remember, we started out with 1 3/4" tubing that looked like that. And now we've got 1 5/8" chromoly instead of mild steel. So it's thinner wall and lighter. Yay us. All right, it's the next day. Things are going really well. We have a main hoop, we have A-pillar bars, we have a windshield bar, we have a dash bar. Really all we're missing at this point is the harness bar and the door bars, which we won't do until the seat's mounted, and the rear bars, which basically brace the top of the hoop to the rear frame section. The great thing about those is the door's wide open for whatever you want to do there. There's really no spec for the angle. The only real spec that I'm aware of is where they have to attach on the main hoop, which is basically they need to be near the top of it. I forget if it's 5 inches or 6 inches or 4 inches away from the corner of it, but basically you can't go too far down the vertical part. But on the horizontal part, you can kind of put them wherever you want, which is why the old cage, yes, I see you, those bars attached up here, and they came here through the holes. And I love you too. It was fine. It fit good. The problem was it narrowed the rear seat area to the point where really you couldn't fit 3 or 4 people back here. You really couldn't even fit 2 people back here unless you squished them together, because the bar was right through here. And you know, if you put a person here and a person here and you got into a wreck, this person and this person's head are bouncing off the bars. We'll probably have to go a little higher to get it away from the light, but our goal is to put the bar up here as close to the trim as we can get it, for a couple of reasons. It means when you look through here you don't see a roll bar, but also it means it's going to be away from rear seat passengers' heads. And what we want to do is come through here, come down here, and then kick over. And this is where it used to go. It used to come straight up 45 and then go up to the hoop. We're going to be way over here, which means at some point we have to come over and go down in here. Now we can attach this here or back here, pretty much anywhere we want. But what we have to remember is we want to take the body off one last time. So the further back we go through the package tray, the more we have to cut out of it to get the body off. Right now, if you turn this bar, if it's straight in line like it used to be, and it drops straight down, you can just lift the body up off the roll cage. If we vary this and kick it this way like we want to, we just have to cut more out, which is not the end of the world. We cut the package tray apart, pull the body off, weld everything permanent like, put the body back on, and then we repair the package tray. It's not the end of the world. In fact, this package tray used to have a piece of carpeted wood across it from the factory to hide all the metal. So there's a lot of options for fixing it. And Joe has a really unique way of planning out this bar, because this bar is going to have 1 bend, 2 bend on a different plane, and a 3rd bend on a 3rd plane. So it's a little complicated. It's not that gnarly, but we have to keep our orientation when we bend the bar so we know which direction to bend it. And we don't have a lot of tube left today. So getting this right the first time, you know, that would be nice.
I spent many years as a commercial electrician. So what we have here is some 1/2-inch EMT and a typical 1/2-inch EMT bender. It's bend by foot. Typically you can know what this is, how much it eats up if you go to 90 starting from this start point right here. But I know over the years, this little start point right here is where my bend is going to happen. It's where my bend will start, is right in here. So I know that I need to start my bend, the first 45, well, it's actually 25-degree bend at 25 inches back. And I'm going to start that right here. We'll start that, we'll test fit it, and then we'll try and turn it down to hit the chassis.
The nice thing about this conduit is you can just tweak it.
It's tweakable.
So now we're on version 2.0. What if you pull the whole thing out and shove that tube on the outside of the roll bar?
Can't get it up there.
So I think if you send this down this way and then kick it over, you'll have more room for passengers.
Look,
Let's try.
that looks pretty decent. It might need more, but it's easier to go more than try to put it back.
Yeah. Does it look funky from the back?
No.
Huh?
Uh-uh.
So I think I want to put more of a bend on here.
Okay.
Let me just try it. I can always take some out. Try that. See if that fits a little bit better.
I can't wait to ride in the back and have someone drive me around in this car. Jeeves, take me to Vegas.
How's that?
Yeah,
It fits better in here.
cool. It might not be enough. So you're on the outside of that bar. So when you move it over to the middle of that bar, I'm guessing,
What do you mean?
is it under the bar where it's going to land up front on the main hoop? Or?
It's touching it, right? I'm in the middle of the circle right now.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, that looks killer.
Okay.
That's a good template. So that's touching the roof,
It's okay. It's just.
and it's a smaller bar. So I'll have to angle down some.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, we're good now.
Yeah. I was just trying to hold it up there so I could mark where I want to 90 this down.
Sweet. There we go. We made a template. Copied it to chromoly. Put it in the tube bender. Let's see how close we got. Oh, that looks pretty good from here. Let's go around to the back of the car. Oh, dude. We're in the ballpark, it looks like.
Dude, we might just be doing like an angle cut, dunk, instead of trying to 90 it down to the frame.
I mean, I'm with you. An angle cut would be awesome, except it has to stay above the wheel tub. You can maybe take 1 degree out of it and it'll get it up closer to the glass.
Yeah, if we can get it so that it comes more up, so this whole thing comes up to here, then we can do a little turn down at the end.
It needs to come higher because there's no room to bend it down there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another one.
We don't have any more pipe.
There's our template. Of course we do. There was Joe's template. Here's version 1 of the bar. This bar is actually really, really close to the template, and we probably could install it, except at the very end, we need it to kick 90 degrees down, and it's so close to the frame, there's not enough room to kick it 90 degrees down. So we're gonna make version 2 of this with a shallower angle here, keeping this closer to the rear glass. That'll give us more room down there. The trouble is we're out of tubing. And I don't know, it's 5:30 at night. It's kind of too late to go get tubing. So we're gonna leave it for now, get some tubing tomorrow, go test drive a truck, and then jump back on this. And I think we can get the rear kickers done tomorrow and mock up the seat and start thinking about door bars and a harness bar. We are close to being done with this deal. This is scary. This is our most difficult part. This is a tube that is about to go from the main hoop, follow the B-pillar, the window, kick towards the frame, then 90 down and land on top of the frame, which is only 2 inches wide. So none of this can be wrong. Let's give it a shot.
And it's totally off axis than everything else.
Yep.
So how far are we bending it?
It looks really long.
It's going to be long.
That's right.
This is where it's got to land, right?
Oh, hold on, this is about to bend it way back here. The 90 needs to be finished here. So it's gonna bend that way. And this piece of the pipe needs to be under this spot. Is that right? Let's put it back up on the table because I don't think this is correct.
Okay.
We have measurements, but you always gotta put it through the eyeball test and it don't look right to me.
No.
I'm like, this looks like it's about to be really short. So this is our piece. This is also our piece. This piece needs to be all in by there. Okay. There's our start to bend. And this needs to wrap around, not that. It's going the wrong direction.
Oh.
This needs to be our start to bend, but that end of the pipe needs to be out here. Because this needs to bend down. That doesn't need to bend.
Oh, that's what we were doing. We had it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay, so comes out,
Kicks.
bends down, kicks over. That's right, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Here we go. Okay, 0.
What are we going to?
Well, what do we say, 70 on that one?
Yeah.
There's 45. I mean, basically, it's a 90-degree bend that you can cut off anywhere you want, but we can go to 70 if you want.
We're cutting it way off, so.
So if you go this, it makes it longer. We could pull it out and stop. Yeah, we could pull it out and see, is this going to work?
See how it lands.
This was as complicated a bar as I've ever made in my life. All right, it's in the ballpark up there. If it twists and if you cut it, does it land on the frame?
It'll land on the frame, but.
You don't sound thrilled. You're like,
No.
it'll land on the frame, but it sucks.
No, I'm not saying it sucks.
So the bar is too far this way. So if you have to move this end this way to land it on the frame, this side gets worse. So my question to you is there a way to tighten up this bend here?
Well, right now the whole thing is laid over this way.
Oh, so you're saying
The 90's not straight.
it'll stand over.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll stand up because I can't fit it.
So
I
if we
can't get it past the frame.
shorten it, it could end up exactly where it needs to be.
Or if I go, yeah, that's not going to work either because.
Well, hold on. No, that's a good strategy. If you take that off the tube in there, can you get it on top of the frame?
It's going to be too long, I think.
Do you want to just take an inch off this end? Or can you get it up on there?
That's on top of the frame.
All right, so it is on there. So now what stops the other end from getting to where it needs to be?
It's just too tall, I think.
This is great. We have all kinds of extras. So let's take an inch out of the chassis end.
Okay.
And we'll just keep doing that until this bar where your left hand is gets level. And then we can look at notching this end. And I think we might have actually pulled this off.
I hope so.
We landed her. Gotta move her over just a hair. Get her centered up on the frame. Very nice. And then we have a good gap to the window, good gap past the trim, and a solid notch. I declare this bar done, and now we just have to copy it on the other side.
It only took most of the day.
And in hindsight, we probably could have eliminated this bend here and just gone straight down to this bend, but this bend is here to tuck this bar up closer to the glass and give everybody more headroom back here. That's why we did it like that. All right. Cool. Let's take it out and measure it and template it because we have numbers. Here we go. This is the second of our triangulated bars off the back of the main hoop going to the rear of the frame section. Last bend, last bar for this video. Let's not screw this up.
God, I hope not.
All right, so we got to go to 70 on this one, right?
Yes.
I remember when we did this the first time for the other side of the car, when we pulled it out, I was like, ooh, we went too far. But then by the time we cut it, it was money.
Yeah. 65, 69, almost 70.
All right, last bar.
Yeah. Sorry, we cut it down, but
Cool.
this is where we started last time.
Yeah, that's good news. It's landing where we want it. Does it look straight?
Yeah, right there looks good.
Okay. All right. You want to cut another inch out of it?
Yep.
I accidentally Sharpied the headliner. That kind of sucks. It's my brand new headliner. Good news is, though, there's these things called Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. They're rectangles. They're white. I don't know what they're made out of, but it'll take that off without ruining the headliner. So once this bar is tacked in, we'll pull the body off, finish weld everything, clean the headliner, then drop it, then paint it, then put it back down one last time. This is going good. Like, this was only, I don't know, 5 days of work. And to be honest, like, if we were professionals, this is probably 2.5 days of work. But for us, it was 5 days with filming and taking my kids to camp and picking my kids up from camp and, you know, life. If it was 55, it would go up on there. So damn close.
I know, right?
All right, let's notch that in. Here we go, everybody. Is this it? Are we ready to weld? Passenger side, driver's side. Nice and straight. I like it. Oh yeah, that fits pretty good, bro.
How's, take a look back here? I think we're looking pretty good back here.
All right, let's clean it, drill holes in them so they vent, and we'll tack them in place. And then it's Friday. Let's be done.
I want a beer.
I want to. Well, all right, I'll get the welder. We are 90% there with a roll cage. All that's left is door bars and a harness bar, and this thing is done. And buy a t-shirt, because this is really expensive. Doing it twice, oh my God. I'll see ya.